Hi, and welcome to Spotlight Community Podcast. I'm Evgenia, a founder of Spotlight How Diversity and Inclusion Agency and educational platform, where we help our clients to make these two big buzzwords a concrete parts of their daily operations, business strategies, and HR issues. Today, we are going to speak about freelancing as a new trend, as a new phenomenon emerging in the labor market, both in Sweden, Europe, and outside in other countries. According to McKinsey study from 2022, 36% of the working population in US are working as freelancers. And we don't know the number for Sweden or for Europe, but we can see that this is also a popular trend which is here to stay. So in this podcast, we are going to speak and discuss how this new form of working, new old form of working, is influencing the workplaces. What workers who work permanently are experiencing compared to freelancers, and what are the disadvantages and advantages of being a freelancer, and also how employers should act in order to create an inclusive and welcoming culture where both permanent workers and freelancers feel welcome and have opportunity to grow and to be heard and seen. So, with us to discuss this important topic, we have Vana Karagianni, who is an expert with 20 years experience in the field of HR and other human resource related issues. Vana has been working both as employee in various companies working with HR. She has been also working an expert for KPMG for big multinational companies, leading their teams and big clients for HR issues. And currently, Vana is a freelancer herself. She is a co-founder of ENSØ company and co-founder and people architect, meaning that she is again working with HR issues. So this is a vast experience from different perspectives, both from HR and from being a freelancer herself. So don't miss this podcast. And if you like this content, please share it with your colleagues and with your network so more people will find out what is freelancing and why its advantages both for freelancers and employers, workplaces. Stay with us and thank you. Hello, Vana, and warmly welcome to podcast Spotlight Community.
Thank you so much for the invitation, Jenny. I'm so excited to be here to discuss this topic. I'm at your disposal to say so many things that are may the listeners may interest them.
And it's exciting to have the professional of your, how we say, size of your experience on the podcast because you've done so much in HR and you know diversity and inclusion and HR issues from experience. And you've been working on both sides, like employee, freelance, and also HR professional and DNI professional. So you have it all, and it's a real pleasure to have you here today to hear your perspective.
Unfortunately, Jenny, I have more than 20 years of experience in HR. I say unfortunately because, this is something that hides my age behind that. But really, really exciting because with all this experience, I have the opportunity to give some ideas and my perspective, first of all, for this significant impact on the modern workforce about the increasing number of freelance professionals now and how they can influence the companies, the operational part of the companies, so of course, to influence diversity and inclusion also, because the freelancing type of working within a company, it's something that it will come in the next, hopefully, few years.
Yeah,
So, of course, it is something that really exciting, and we can discuss about that.
exciting and frightening from the perspective of employer. It's a bit frightening because it's totally new. form of working, and this is what we will discuss. So this podcast is both for you who are freelancer and also for you who are employer of HR, DNI professional, or owner of the company, manager of any kind, because it's this is a new reality. The scenery is changing of how we employ and keep talents, and it's different approaches we need to employ. So from my experience, I see many organizations are not ready because it's kind of coming like a storm. And so what is this new trend, Vana? When did it appear, and how does it look like according to your experience, this freelancing?
First of all, I would like to share my experience as a freelancer that it's not something frightening. So
No.
if somebody hears now the podcast, not to be frightened because it's something for me very interesting, a new world. But the truth is that in recent years, there has been a huge trend, I could say, towards a more adaptable workforce. So there is a huge rise of freelancing and very high skilled professionals that prefer this type of working outside of the companies. This change can be attributed to various factors, I could say. First of all, the advancement of technology.
Mm.
Technology now it's the top priority for everybody. And technology can allow the remote working and the virtual collaboration. It's very easy to work remotely, as well as growing emphasis on achieving a healthy work-life balance. So apart from technology, people now they are very thirsty to have a more healthy work-life balance. More and more companies now that are realizing this trend, they try to find all the advantages of reaching out to a diverse range of talents, such as freelancers, around the world, so remotely. This can help them to leverage specific skills and knowledge, not all the operational and the operational way of the company, but maybe for individual or very specific projects that need expertise. So in order to have better outcomes.
Mm. So the main reasons you think then that it's technological advancement and it's maybe COVID influenced, or was it also before COVID this trend started with freelancing? How?
Of course. Before, but I think that the remote working that the COVID generated in a more high percentage, I mean in a global basis, could benefit all this trend. The skilled professionals are increasingly drawn to freelance work due
Mm.
to multiple reasons. First of all, I could say, as a freelancer myself, the flexibility. One of the greatest advantages of being a freelancer is the flexibility. You have the freedom to select the projects you want to work on. You can create your own schedule. You have the ability to work from any location. For example, today that I wanted to have this podcast not in a very, rush day in the office, I prefer to work from my house, from my home.
Mm.
So right now I'm in my home.
Mm.
So this level of flexibility can allow freelancers to have more control over their work-life balance and of course to customize it to their own career needs. As a second reason, I could say the independence. Numerous professionals can appreciate the freedom that comes from freelancing, including the ability to make decisions about their own work. Also, freelancing can give you a wide range of projects in various industries. It's very interesting that you
Mm.
can find projects and you can find the opportunity of collaboration with different sectors. So every day it's something new, and you can add more knowledge to your own and more experience to your own career. other two reasons that I believe that there are, one more reason that I believe that it's very, very strong is that freelancers can have the advantage of potentially earning higher rates or fees for their work,
Mm.
especially the experienced ones, that they do have an experience of many years, and this is an opportunity to work with higher fees compared to those in traditional salaried positions within a company.
Yeah, for freelance, it's clear, but why do companies want freelancers? What are the reasons behind their choices? Is it not easier just to have staff and like you understand how to work with the staff, how to promote, how to
Mhm.
control performance? Is it not better for companies to skip freelancers?
Um, Freelancing has become increasingly, I believe, popular, especially at the beginning, especially in the industries that thrive on innovation.
Mm,
And apart from this, the industries that they are trying to find to require specialized skills or expertise.
mm,
So it's very expensive to have someone on board that it's highly skilled professional for every day than to have him on board only for a specific project. So the industry that really prefers and it's really common, it's the technology and the IT, where the fast-paced nature of these areas demands a high expertise. So
mm,
it's a freelancing. It's a very popular and attractive option. Second, I could say that the creative industries that are based on a project-based work, is something that really it's very popular too. This can include areas such as marketing, design, content creation, and things like that. The third sector, it's the business and management consulting professional, that it's not something new. The consulting area used to have from many years now some freelancers, but now there is a trend that freelancer consulting professional want to make the most of their expertise by working with various clients, because from the perspective also from the consultant, it's something very interesting in order to add expertise and experience through various projects. And another area that it's very, very new, and I think it's very interesting, is the telemedicine and remote healthcare services. That it's
mm,
something that nowadays it's something that it's always it is growing, presenting freelance health care providers with promising opportunities. But it's something very new, and we need to do it to see whether it's something that it came in order to stay.
mm. It's fun, yeah, and it's I'm now talking from the employer perspective and Spotlight agency, which I'm running. It's definitely amazing to have this opportunity to have highly skilled freelancers, because you don't have a lot of money to have on board all the time. For example, PR and marketing team, who are like, we have freelancers working with our social media and channels and marketing. It's a high level expertise, but it's the whole team working behind the scenes. And to have this team as your employees, like on a contract, it would be impossible. So it gives totally new opportunities to in for startup, even I'm thinking. And also IT team. So exactly what I
Mhm.
wanted to hear, the areas you circled, and it's exactly content creation, this marketing and IT, highly skilled, both are like highly skilled like freelancers who have in their turn connected to other freelancers, for because it's not like building website is not like you sit and build everything yourself. You need designer,
Mhm. Mhm.
coder, you need. So basically it's a range of freelancers working with the task, with the project,
Mhm.
and it's anyway cheaper than to have the whole this team as and board of your, like, all the time, long term, like team, everyday team who are
If
employed.
if I may add, also HR,
Mm,
although it is within consulting, I could say, because I'm an HR person. So HR, it's something that it grows a lot last year, because the small and medium, or either the startups, as you said, and the small medium enterprises cannot afford to have an HR professional within the company, or they can afford to have a junior HR professional, but for the very important and difficult tasks, they definitely need someone from the outside, from outside of their company, an expert HR professional. And nowadays, you can see more and more to have, I could say from my experience, that I do have a lot of projects from small and medium enterprises.
mm. Yeah, I can confirm for Spotlight, because it's a kind of, it's not HR, we're working with diversity, inclusion, equity, but it's a part of human capital issue at the company, part of HR. So it's also a kind of professional. It's not possible to have it all the time on board for many companies because it's too expensive, but definitely these are most, like, medium companies especially invite us the most as expert, as freelancer, like expert coming and solving them, developing strategies and all these tasks, which are like, and setting up mechanisms which then they follow in their term, like manager, another role. But it's also something like diversity and inclusion. It's also something where freelancers thrive in
Mm-hmm,
medium-sized
mm-hmm,
companies. Big
mm-hmm.
companies like those, they have the whole departments, HR, and they have a company like regional diversity and inclusion manager, local. But smaller, they normally use freelancers for that.
Mm-hmm.
The
Of
same
course,
as
of course,
HR.
of course.
So it's very interesting. Yeah, it's totally new opportunity both for freelancer for those reasons you mentioned, and it totally resonates those, and they are very appealing. Especially like yeah, your life changes, and then during Corona you tested this freedom, and you don't want to go back to office 8 to 5. It feels like uh,
No, yeah, perfect. And it's a win-win situation for both parts, from the company side and also from the experts from the other side, that they can gain both benefits and things that they can gain for their experience.
absolutely. Yes, and some areas are more freelancer heavy, can we say, than others, and those you mentioned. But what does it mean for the organization? Now you're talking as HR. What does
Mhm.
it mean when it comes to recruitment and retention in practice? If you just describe the scene, how does it look like for? How does it come together?
Mhm. Yeah, it's something new. They're trying to find some ways. It is very crucial for the companies, though, to adjust their talent strategies, because up to now, until now, the talent strategies, and not only the talent in order to have the recruitment, but to attract also the talent, which is something specific. They deal mostly with the people that they want a position within the company and not freelancing. So they need to adjust them in order to effectively attract and retain freelancers. And then they needed to have in mind that the freelancers that they select to be freelancers, they are experts with high expectations. So one of the things that they needed to consider, they needed to explore the possibility of implementing more flexible work arrangements, providing flexible place and working hours within the frame of the project that they take care of for the sake of the company.
Mm.
Another thing is the attractive compensation. So they need to offer a generous payment structure, and they need to ensure prompt payments in order to attract the top freelancers. because
Mm,
if they need something for a project, they want the best for them. Another thing is to create a positive working environment, not to separate the freelancers from the rest of the people. They need to have a more team-oriented attitude. They need to cultivate an inclusive and supportive culture that appreciates the contribution of the freelancers that they join the company for a specific period of time.
mm,
And last but not least, I believe that the focus must also need to be on providing to the freelancers valuable training and development of the things of the company,
mhm,
opportunities to foster their growth. Because if I am a freelancer and I handle a project for the sake of the company, and they have this period of time an internal training about, for example, I don't know, the culture of the company. The freelancer definitely need to participate, not for the sake of the project, but in order to understand better and have a very close relation with the client company. If the freelancer understands the way that the company works, the project, the outcome of the project will have a better result and very, very customized in company's needs.
mm. So basically, now you're entering diversity, inclusion, and belonging area that even if it's temporary, a worker, employee, then you treat in the same way as everyone else. And also when it
Of
comes to
course.
inclusion, and then of course it's paid back in business profit because yeah, company culture is better understood. The person feels belonging to this team they're working with temporarily. So it's really, I mean, it's really really important and very good practical tip when it comes to diversity and inclusion, which doesn't cost too much extra. It's like
Of
to
course,
have
of
this.
course. And don't forget that the freelancer that collaborates with a company for a specific period of time usually share his or her experience after the completion of this project between 6 to 10 people.
Mm,
So if the experience of this company, it's a great experience, not only in terms of payment, of working conditions, but in working environment, team orientation, and
mm,
of course, diversity and inclusion orientation. I believe that it will help the company to have a very strong fame in the market. So I believe that the freelancers can be also ambassadors of this company, apart
mm.
from collaborators.
Absolutely. And this is when we train our clients and when we develop strategies, always we work even with people who are applying for a job position, freelancer or not, and not coming to interviews and not getting the job. Even
Mhm.
announcing this to these candidates is important. You always think about your branding and about your reputation. Even you met person once and this person will never apply, because what happens that this person either will have positive feelings like aftertaste after
Mhm.
meeting you as a company, as a brand, and will promote you and meeting this number of people you mentioned, or being very negative about you. And even so it's actually what you are saying. And as I am trying as a DNI professional, I always try to convert everything in practical tips for people working with these issues in organizations. That the practical tip is like, you always think about your reputation and branding, even if it's temporary employees or even people you just meet for one interview which was not successful for this person. Because word of mouth, it's how company branding is built. It's not only what you put on social media, it's also what people say. So it's a very,
Totally agree. Mhm.
yeah, it's a good point. So Basically, business benefits are clear and branding is clear for this. Is it something else you think about companies we need to think about retention of this freelancer experts?
There are several benefits that a company can enjoy from having a freelancer collaboration. Let's say working scheme in order to deal with freelancers and experts in the future. This can include also access to a diverse talent pool that don't have the opportunity to have different type of expertise and experiences within the budget frame of the company. I mean, with the structure, the salary structure. So you, with the freelancer, can give you the opportunity to have during the whole operational needs to have the expert that you need. So you deep dive in the diverse talent pool. You have the flexibility to scale the workforce up or down. So you have a minimum, you have a basis of a permanent team, but you do deal with freelancers depending of course, of the project or the industry that the company belongs. Also can leverage the knowledge of the permanent personnel staff. So if freelancer comes and collaborates with people, with the team, the in-house team of the company, can give them, can exchange knowledge and experience. So it's a kind of a job training, on the job training. And also you have the ability to bring specialized skills as you need, as you want. From the other hand, we cannot see always the bright side, the positive side, because we have some, not many, drawbacks to consider. Of course, when you have the freelancers, you can build a cohesive team culture, but it's very, very challenging. It's not very easy to have different people with different type of collaboration within a company. That's why we are trying now to find some solutions in a soft skills basis. Secondly, maybe there are some issues, maybe potential issues of quality control, how I control the quality of the project and how I can find a way of feedback within such a collaboration with freelancers. And of course, we have another drawback that a company can consider. If you manage a larger pool of freelancers and not only one, this can lead to an administrative, let's say, burden. It's not that easy from an administrative way and HR, I could say, way of handling. It's really challenging. But as we have two parts, we have the companies, but we have the part of freelancing. And I could say from my experience that though a company can have these few drawbacks, I could say, from the other hand, the freelancer can enjoy several advantages and want to have this type of collaborations, like they have the autonomy over their work, the opportunity to work with different projects within the same company sometimes. And of course, the increased income that we mentioned before. From the other hand, freelancers too, they do have some things, some challenges to consider. There is an income instability, so it's not something on a monthly basis. They have a fee that it is based on a project. They don't have access to other maybe traditional employee benefits, for example, healthcare, company cars, and things like that. And of course, here is something that I would like to mention, because self-discipline and effective time management from the freelancer, it is combined not only with his expertise, but with his personality, his or her personality and professionalism.
Mm.
That it's not that easy to find someone to have all these things, to have the expertise, to have the professionalism, the personality that can fit to the company. So all these things are the challenges that we need to analyze more in the future.
Yeah, and also personality to become a freelancer. Some people really like to know that on my account every month I get this amount of money, and I want this stability. But some people are okay to have this, as you say, income, which might be very high in some months, but in some months it's lower. Maybe there is no season and it's not so much work. So you need to have maybe a specific personality to be a freelancer as well. It's not for everyone, but those who
No.
are should definitely try. I mean, but what I am thinking when you are telling this, Van, all the time we overlook one part in this puzzle is permanent workforce. I mean, when freelancer comes in with all these benefits, probably higher salary, flexible hours, no need to sit in maybe all corporate meetings, which are like time killers and the must for you. How, I mean, people who are working on permanent basis maybe might start protesting because it's so different conditions. How to deal with that from you as HR, and then how to deal.
Mhm. The idea is not to have people that protest, because maybe, first of all, a company that deals and have many projects with freelancers could have a structure that gives the opportunity for from a permanent. I had a company, a client company that did this, that I could say it's a best practice, give the opportunity to the permanent workforce to share their knowledge and to change their status to freelancing. But he needs to know, she needs to know from the very beginning that the stability no longer is on the table. I could say from the experience of 2 years that runs this program that not many people, just two, I could say,
Uh-huh.
applied for this type of change, because they can understand that the stability, as you very well mentioned before, it's not for everybody. And when you have now an uncertain, working environment in a global basis, the stability sometimes it's something that comforts many people. Though, from my opinion, that I'm a freelancer, sometimes put a lot of limits. So a company can do something like that, a best practice, in order to give the opportunity for the people to change their status. This gives a freedom in psychological way to the employees, that I have the freedom to do that. But from my experience, I will say that not many people will dare to do that.
Mm.
The other thing is that if you find some things, for example, the onboarding process, if during the onboarding of the people that they are coming, they deal and they explain that they have this type of collaboration, it's like an upfront contract between the employees, the human resources, the people that they work permanently with the company, that they will confront in the future people that they do have another status. And also can understand that number one and more crucial is the stability. The stability, it's something, it's a carrot that it's a very nice carrot.
Yeah.
And I believe that if there is an open communication with the company, with the culture, the channels of communication and feedback, and the way that they collaborate with the freelancers. I mean, if there isn't transparency, from my experience, I see that there is no different way of thinking and not protection, not many
Yeah.
protests.
No, man. Yeah, because protest is big, it's clashes and conflicts. This is something you want to avoid. But is it something like you can do also as HR to create? Maybe you have some interesting methods which you've seen at you when you meet your clients
Yes.
to do alignment between freelancers and permanent staff. So to create maybe a common culture, something which is
Mhm,
relevant
mhm,
to both.
mhm.
Maybe you can share something.
Yes, of course. First of all, they need to have more inclusive policies.
Mm,
So, in the policies that they do develop, they need to update it, having included the freelancing type of working. So if you have something that is very clear from the very beginning, if the procedure is clear, then less problems will become bigger in the future. So first of all, the inclusive policy to ensure that freelancers are included in company communications and also communications and events.
mm,
Like the one that I told you, onboarding, like the one that I mentioned as a training. We have a culture training within the company or a sales training. It's an opportunity for the freelancer to join in a better way and understand in a better way the company, meet the other people, and be part of the team.
mm,
Second, they can utilize the technology more efficiently. For example, the platforms that can have access, also the freelancers, maybe with more restrictions, but they need to use the technology, the company technology, in order to understand how the things are working. The
mm,
other thing is that they can create focus groups in order to exchange knowledge and expertise. For example, if a freelancer is a project owner of a training or a focus groups or a workshop or whatever that can share some knowledge from other sectors too for a specific, of course, theme, it's something that the other people, the rest of the people, the team can can understand that there is a sharing point, and we can collaborate in a very friendly and very collaborative way. The relationship building needs to be prioritized, and HR usually is the main tool, let's say, in order to do that. We need, as a company, they need to dedicate time to cultivate strong and lasting connections between freelancers and the rest of the team, rest of
mm,
the people, in order to foster continuity and, of course, in order to foster transparency and trust, which is very, very important. And,
mm,
of course, as a last idea is to evaluate the performance, to have some performance procedures that include freelancers in order also to promote trust and transparency, not only to the freelancer, but to the rest of the team that gives some opportunity to assess the work of the freelancer and of course the effectiveness and of course to influence the whole work, the whole team.
mm. Yeah, absolutely. It makes, I mean, what things you just described, it's general, universal recommendations for making company culture more accepting, and it becomes more inclusive for all, basically, when you introduce these schemes, because it affects, I think, this view, it affects everyone. uh,
Mhm.
in a positive way. Because I know when we work, for example, companies with diversity, and when you adopt your workplace for people with autism, for example, you have more clear routines, clear onboarding, and clear mentor contact, and all this. It then it affects all your routines and procedures for
Mhm.
it becomes clear for everyone. And who doesn't like clear procedures and routines and a mentor? I mean, and what you describe is, yeah, it's a good universal advice. What I'm just thinking, and I'm asking you advice as a HR professional. What if freelancer entering the company, entering with attitude, but I don't want to participate in any of that. My job is here to develop this IT or solution or PR, but I want to stay away from the rest. I don't want company culture, events. Is it okay, or shall we demand engagement on some level as employers?
I could say that depending on the goal of the company, what the company needs to succeed. If I want something that will last and will be have a professionalism and a way of collaboration and promote the culture of the company, needs to have on board freelancers that they
Mm,
deal from the very beginning the things that they need to do. For example, if a company needs to have the freelancer for a long period of time, and not only for long and for short, but promotes a lot, and it's one of the company's values to promote a very a diverse working environment with very good relations and communication, needs to deal and to agree from the very beginning of the collaboration with the freelancer the series of the things that demands, not demands, that would like to attend from the freelancer point of view. So
mm,
they needed to include many things in the agreement apart from the project itself and the payment and things like that, which are the technicalities, let's say, more communicative and more soft skills, let's say, that we'll agree upon. For
mm,
example, a freelancer, from my point of view, not everybody agrees, but a freelancer that will work for a long period of time in a company for a big project definitely need to enter to have the onboarding training from the very beginning, because
mm,
this is something valuable for him or for her in order to understand the company. And also during this period of the onboarding process, also the company can understand if the freelancer can fit to the company at least for this period of time.
mm,
So an agreement from the very beginning, an upfront contract that the Americans usually say, and it's
mm,
something that it's a term in sales. That when you go in a client, you need to have an upfront contract from for what is going to follow in the discussion. This is something that I believe that we need to analyze more, of course, and to set up as a first step between a company and a freelancer.
yeah, and I think it's important because I've seen cases when a freelancer is like, I mean, it's freelancer is anyway a person, and when a new person enters the group, it doesn't matter on which conditions, the group dynamic changes and adapts it. Every new person, the group dynamic changes, and it can, even though it's temporary, it can influence a lot. And I've seen, for example, freelancers like saying out loud things like, I don't want to associate, I don't want to be shown on any picture, so I don't want to associate with company culture, or like they are actually thinking the boat, they feel more free to be like to show disloyalty to the employers, the freelancers. I think these things are not okay, because it's like it's something needs to be in the agreement, like code of conduct in the company and some basic ethics, which you need to follow. It doesn't matter you're expert on the field, but because I've seen like this freedom sometimes,
Mhm.
and it destroys group dynamics because all other permanent employees, and it becomes like this feeling, it becomes conflict, or at least this bad aftertaste.
Because Jenny, I believe that sometimes companies sacrifice the personality when they have something very urgent to deal with an expert that knows everything about this.
Mm,
But from my opinion and my experience, right now the personality is the number one. Either it's freelancer or a permanent person that works for a company. The personality is the number one. It's the number one factor for the success. And
mm,
the success for me, it's not the outcome only, but the road in order to have the outcome. In the road until completion, let's say. As from my perspective as an HR, as we have very, very many tools to attract and select the workforce of a company, we need to apply some of them to the freelancers too at the
mm.
very beginning in order to attract and recruit, let's say,
Yeah.
collaborate with freelancers that will help the team dynamics, as you mentioned, and not to destroy them.
Mm. Yeah, because it's a very sensitive issue material, this team dynamics, and it shouldn't be sacrificed whatever skill this freelancer brings, because it should be some. It's my personal opinion, at least it's how in Spotlight we are leading when it comes to diversity and inclusion in teams when there is a lot of freelancers, and how
And
to do.
I could say that the freelancers needs to act as professional consultants. For example,
Yeah.
I have 10 years experience in KPMG Greece,
Mm.
which is a big four company. So they
Yeah.
are very strict to many, many things, procedures, how you work, how your appearance, how you collaborate, because usually you don't work for KPMG. I
Mm.
mean, in the office of the of KPMG,
Yeah.
but you work mostly in a client office.
Yeah.
So you act like a freelancer. You are a consultant, but you act like a freelancer. I believe that freelancers need to act like this, that as they do have a specific way of professionalism, code of professionalism, that they need to adapt it in every client, but they need to find, because as a KPMG expert, they usually explain to me how they work, and my company asks me always to have a long conversation of the rules of the company, the client company, that I will collaborate, not only from KPMG, but from the client itself. So I believe that a freelancer needs to have two things. First of all, to understand, to develop his own or her own professionalism. Second one, to find which are the codes, the limits, and all the regulations, and how the culture is of a company that will go and work and collaborate. And the third one, which is an idea, let's say, that
Mhm.
I believe that training providers could have more certifications on freelancing, let's say, attitude and skills in order to develop a freelancer.
Mm.
Because a freelancer, maybe it's not from the very beginning. Usually, it takes a long period of time to decide that you are going to be a freelancer, and it's something new for you.
Mm.
Although you have a lot of experience or expertise in something, it's you are very new in freelancing. So if you didn't have the opportunity to be a consultant and to have some regulations in order to deal with the clients, how to deal and collaborate with the clients and communicate, you need to attend to such course in
Mm.
order to give you all these skills and guidelines that you need.
It's $1 million idea. Someone who is watching us, trainers in diversity and inclusion, just take it, because it's really, it's so new and it's so interpreted in so many different ways, both by freelancers and employers. So this course, standardizing the code of conduct and like the soft skill, it's a project. Why are you dropping it here, Vana? We could do it. We could do
And
it,
we and we put the stamp of micro credentials to Jenny in order to have it. Yes, it is something that many times I had it in my mind because I did my whole life. I was a consultant. Apart from some years that I tried the other way, the industry way, and always when I see, and I do deal with other freelancers too, I can understand what they are missing things that are very important, are more soft skills wise things, and not the technical expertise, but they are very, very crucial about the good collaboration with the company.
Mm. It's absolutely so, and soft skills in general is something which is more and more required and requested, both from leaders leading the company's employees, for creating, and also why not freelancers who are on temporary basis entering the teams and doing yeah, influencing a lot. So it's really interesting idea, and it should be, I think it's standardizing this code of conduct, or like it's a great idea, which is win-win for workplace and for freelancer. But how, I don't know, do you have any idea how many are in Europe are freelancing? Because I've checked this article, why highly skilled professionals want your work but not your job, and it's about US. It's something about 35 or something percent working as freelancers there. Do you have an idea about Europe or Greece, at least how many?
Unfortunately, not. It's something new because it is growing and they put a lot of effort because I do participate in many events and I do read a lot of things and I try to keep myself updated in such things. I think that until now they put a lot of effort in other cases like the remote working, how to deal with the people that they work within a company and things like that. And the freelancing, it's something new, not
Mm,
new as a type of working, but new as an established type of
mm,
working. Some years ago, I thought that the freelancer cannot find another position in a company and it's the only way to work.
mm,
And I am telling you my opinion. Some are like 10 years ago when I was in KPMG and I was very, in a career that I had from my younger years. And from year to year, I do understand that it's not something that you are obliged to do because you lost your work or something like that. But it's an option, a decision to do. For me, it was a decision to do. And for me, for myself, it was a surprise that I took this decision because I had a career in multinational companies, and the career path was very specific. So it's something very new, and I am afraid that I don't have any additional information apart from the ones that you've mentioned. But I will try for the next time.
it's interesting
Maybe I
because,
have for the next time something new, more updated.
but it's, I've checked as well. I just thought maybe because you're so into the field, maybe you've seen. I haven't found something about Europe just to present. It's fun to compare how we versus US. How is it going? Is it also something about 35, or is it? I think it's less common. Uh, but it's my just gut feeling. I know nothing about it. There is no statistic I found. So
There is a stereotyping, the one that I've mentioned before, Jenny, in Europe. Europe, don't forget that it's more conservative than USA.
mm,
So, in many things, though we believe that we are more, I don't know, we do have radical changes more, I don't know, with the culture and things like that. In these issues, and especially for the freelancing, I think that it's more new, and still there is a stereotyping that it's not an option. You don't select to be a freelancer,
mm,
but you are obliged to do that because of many things that you had in your career path until now. So maybe this is the thing. But now we cannot close the eyes. Linda Gratton, that deals with, she's a professor in London Business School of Economics, if I recall. She deals with the future of work and the trends. And it's totally clear that the freelancing way of collaboration, it's something that will gain a lot of area in the future.
mm. It feels like that it's becoming more and more so attitude changing from what you said. Freelancing is something happening to you because you lost your work or whatever, to a conscious choice, a career choice. At least it looks like it's a trend. But I think I agree that it's a feeling, it's here to stay. So let's develop this course for freelancers and soft competence. I think
Of
uh,
course, why not?
it's a
I'm
good.
always open. Yeah, of course, of course.
So Vana, how is the future? I think you just said that freelancing is here to stay, but how if you expert with your experience for so many years? I don't want to say the number again, but it's many. How does the future look like, and when it comes to like freelancing and workplace in general? What do you think from your?
From my perspective, I could say that it's a very it's a strong word. I envision a future of work that is becoming more and more hybrid. We are all already there, but I mean hybrid with the freelancing too. It will involve a well-balanced combination of full-time employees,
Mm,
but also freelance professionals. It's clear for me, it's very clear that companies recognize the value of freelancing. And of course, they will continue to rely on their unique skills and flexibility. That's why we do have so many consultants,
mm,
not only from big companies, big consulting companies, but smaller ones. So
mm,
advances in technology will continue to enhance the ease of collaboration across different locations, remote working and things like that. So it's something that really help the freelancing. And of course, in addition, as organizations become increasingly skilled at handling diverse workforce, because many years ago we couldn't imagine the things that a company now can do, and that's
mm,
why HR it's something very new. It's the last, I don't know, in Greece, for example, it's the last 20 years. In some other countries, let's say that it's 30 years, something like that. Very new in the market. There will be a greater focus on topics such as job security, benefits for freelancers, and things like that. New employment models will grow, of course, and the new employment models needed to combine. And I believe that this is something that will sit in the forthcoming years. They need to combine the advantages of different approaches and not only the classical one,
mm.
because at the end of the day, everybody will win. So
Yeah.
this is the idea. I cannot see anything.
Mm,
We have some challenges. We've mentioned some of them, but the benefits are more than
mm,
the disadvantages. So I believe that if we work well and people with different aspects from the company's point of view, the management, the HR, the sales, all together, if we try to fund such hybrid models, I believe that we'll have a better working environment and the market will go further.
Mm. I agree. And it's, I mean, as everything new and fresh, it needs time to settle. And of course, it's trial and error, but in general, it's both good trend, as you say, win-win, both from mental health perspective, freedom, earnings, and everything. And also for employer to get the best workforce and to scale up and scale down easily compared to if you have permanent staff, then it's a different approach.
You know, Jenny, companies now have a golden chance to embrace the rise of freelance professional,
Mhm.
and they can use it as a catalyst of innovation, let's say diversification, and generally the overall success, because the landscape is changing
Mm,
every day. So they need new, fresh ideas and new minds. And with through freelancing, you can have it at once. And of course, you can use it as a tool to leverage your own stuff too.
absolutely. And if there was no freelancing and flexible work hours, Spotlight wouldn't happen because our best teams are abroad. I met some of them in person a couple of times, but some of them I just met online, and they are doing amazing job. The great specialists. If I looked someone locally needing to coming to my office from 8 to 5 and stay there on permanent basis, it wouldn't be that innovative and great as it is. So
Of
it's
course, of course.
definitely an opportunity, not a burden. It's just to find your way to embrace it. So I think we are reaching to the end of this podcast, Vana, and it's been so exciting to discuss this trend with you. And I will myself rewatch it a couple of times because I think it's a lot of things I need as a business owner to learn again. And it's very intensive, informative podcast, but it's really needed. You need to hear it if you're an employer, our main target group, and also freelancer. And to finish it, we have a tradition when we kind of chain our guests together because
Okay.
the world is a circle of life. You know, this Ubuntu, everything is connected, all topics are connected, and inclusion is a huge topic. So then the previous guest asked our current guest a question, and you will send your question in secret to the next one. We will not announce
Okay.
you.
Okay.
Yes. So our previous guest sent you this question: how to work strategically in the best way with youngsters to prevent crime?
Okay. First of all, it's a very interesting question.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to share my heart from my heart. I will speak from my heart. As a mother of two children, that it's 16 and 14, I do see all over the crime in very early ages.
Mm.
And this is something that it's frightened me. And many times I'm thinking it's about the school, the community, the government, many times. Of course, we put, we need to put everybody our efforts in order to avoid it. But I believe that we needed to go back to the family.
Mm.
So, from my opinion, we are becoming parents without having any clue of how we can do that. And through this process and the development, the rising of our family, we do have a lot of challenges to confront, and we do it depending on the experience that we have, whether we were lucky to have a good family and good advices, and to try to read some things through the internet or to discuss. I believe that we need, as a world, I could say, with the families, with the new families, and to have, of course, we need the budget and we need the sources from the government, and we need policies, and of course, a structure and trainings that need to be adapted. But we need to be more close to the families, and some families, they have this need more than others. Let's
Yeah.
say that the people that they do confront a lot of money problems, they do need a lot of help of how they will develop their family and how they can consult their own children.
Mm.
I don't know, this is not my expertise, but as a mother, I could say that we need to go back from the very beginning before a child will came to this
Mm.
world.
Yeah.
And I know that there are parents academies and things like that. From my opinion, because I see some things that are really strange for me,
Mm.
some other not. I believe that we need to have something, some kind, because I'm a trainer too, some kind of certification that a new parent need to follow to assist, and to
Mm.
have one certification, maybe public, I don't know, that give us some idea of some specific things. This is one idea. My honest and from my heart, ideas and thoughts about the question.
It's a brilliant idea. You drop another $1 million idea here, too, and both about training. So let's discuss after podcast, collaborate on them, because yeah, parentship is something you need to learn, because knowing being mother of two small children, I have to say you were not prepared for what it means to
No.
be a parent before the first one. Now I know second, but first it's totally different from what you hear and see with your friends and family. So it's a good idea at a parent school and certification. It's really to be ready to be a good parent and to support it. Because yeah, what you are talking, basically strategically preventive work and starting with parents. So thank you for that. I think that our podcast guest who asked this question will be happy with an answer.
Hopefully.
Brilliant. It's brilliant and really, yeah, up to the point. So thank you, Vana. Thank you for this hour, for your insights, for your energy and your experience, and $2 million ideas to share with us today.
Jenny, it was an honor for me that you invited me, and I had this opportunity to share all the experience and my thoughts on the theme. And the other thing is that you gave me the opportunity to share this podcast to some clients of mine, to be proud of the freelancer
Please.
that they deal, and also to promote the freelancing way of collaboration in other companies, to open this road. Thank you so much, Jenny. Thank you.
Thank you, Vana. Have a great day and we stay in touch.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye.